Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik, Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, Vancouver's best auto service experience. 17-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver, as voted by their customers. How you doing, Bernie?
Doing very well.
So we're going to talk about a Ford F150 2007. What was going on with this truck?
This vehicle got towed into our shop because it wasn't running properly. Suddenly, when the owner was driving it, the engine started misfiring. And when we did a diagnostic on it, we found that there was a number of trouble codes on the right cylinder bank for misfires, also codes for camshaft timing. So usually when that sort of sequence of codes happens, especially if the misfires are all in one bank, usually indicates a problem with a timing chain issue. So we did a diagnostic on it. And we found that the timing, when we told the valve cover, we found the timing chain had actually, the guides that hold the timing chain tight had broken. And so the timing chain skipped a tooth and caused a few engine problems. Pretty severe in this case.
So how common are timing chain problems with these Ford engines?
Fairly common. We do see a number of them over the past year. We've seen several. It's a complex system. I mean, it uses two timing chains, plus it has variable valve timing mechanisms. So there's solenoids, there's sensors, there are plus the guides and tensioners. So there's quite a few pieces that are in play when the engine's running. It's one of those engines that's it's critical to change your oil regularly because you definitely don't want to gum things up. But even that being said, they can still fail.
So what options as an owner do you have when timing chains might fail so catastrophically?
Well, it depends on what stage of the failure. There's a solenoid that will sometimes fail that can be replaced, and that'll fix the issue. But once it's catastrophically failed like this, usually the best option is to have a remanufactured engine. It's definitely costly, but it's the best way to just fix everything and just start fresh. I mean, other options are to actually take the engine apart. You can take the timing cover apart, maybe replace the chain. But if there's been any damage, the pistons and valves have hit, that's going to cause, obviously that's not going to fix it. The other problem that happens on these engines too is that the oil passageways will sometimes be blocked and they can be hidden. I mean, it's a very complex system throughout the whole engine. And if you can't find the blockage or you don't know there's a blockage, you put all the chains back together and then the engine will still run crappy, and you've really wasted a lot of money, because doing timing chains on this engine is an extremely expensive job. So really the best option is a remanufactured engine. I mean, another option is a good used engine, but with used, you never know if you might have something that'll last for 10 more years, or 6 months down the road it may have the same or some other problem.
So that's a pretty huge expensive kind of job. Is it worth it?
Well, I think for the most part it is. So on this particular truck, and actually I kind of lied, I said it's an F-150. This truck is actually a Lincoln Mark LT, which is basically an F-150, but it's a very it's a Lincolnized model. So this truck's got more value than an average F-150. But for the most part, I mean, a truck with reasonable mileage, it's worth fixing, because trucks do tend to hold their value fairly well, and they're a little more useful than cars, I think. So they tend to last longer than cars, and often are worth spending the money on. But it's up to the individual owner. You got to kind of crunch the numbers and go, am I better to spend $10,000 on fixing this thing, or should I just trash it and get something else? So that's it's up to the individual owner. But of course if the engine's not working, the truck's really worth zero. So let's just share I'll just have a look at a few photos here of the job. So we have. So we went with a Ford remanufactured engine. I really like these engines because they come complete. You got all the valve covers are on, the timing covers are on. It comes with the cam sensors are located here. It comes with new cam sensors. It comes with all the gaskets. It actually even comes filled with oil and new spark plugs. So it's still a lot of work, but it's really a nice drop-in job, and done very complete, and they work really well. So cost a little bit more than some other remanufactured engines, but not a lot. And I think for the owner, you're getting a better product. There's a sort of side-by-side view. Here's the new engine ready to install. There's the old engine with the valve cover off. There you can see where my mouse pointer is. There's that's the timing chain there, and the guide that failed is located down in this area here. There's the camshaft, the cam lobes. Yeah, so that's the old engine. There's the new engine, and then what do we got here? Here's the engine bay with the engine removed. So a couple interesting things to look at here. This is the transmission bell housing where the transmission bolts to the engine, and this is the torque converter. That's basically like a fluid clutch, which is used in all automatic transmissions. So this is what the engine couples to the torque converter that drives the transmission. And just here, the exhaust pipes, where the exhaust pipes hook up. You get your steering column over here. And all these wires are basically engine wires that are just sort of hanging loose for the time being, but they'll all be, they'll all get connected up as we put the vehicle together. The air conditioning compressor sort of sits in place. That's basically a view of the engine compartment without the engine in, and then when we have the engine back in, that's kind of the view, which still looks kind of cluttery because this thing's not by any means ready to run or go yet, but you can see that the alternator is installed and all that wiring that was hanging down below, most of it's been reinstalled in its various spots.
Still have the radiator, etc., and basically the serpentine belt, etc., to put in.
Yeah, that all needs to be put in. The belt and the radiator, fan, for more wiring, the engine computer, and then it's ready to be ready to run.
So it's a tough call on even with oil changes regularly, you still might run into this problem with these motors?
Yeah, they still do. I mean, the owner of this vehicle has been he's taken pretty good care of it and changed oil. So it's, it does happen from time to time. I mean, your best defense is absolutely, change your oil regularly every 6,000 kilometers is a good safe interval without changing it too often. Just do that regularly and the engine will last as long as you can get out of it.
And how do you find these Ford trucks overall for reliability?
Well, I just say fair. I mean, I know we've talked about these a lot in the past. So timing chains are one thing, but the engine that happens. And I often like to compare what are the other brands, like the equivalents. And I always think of Chevy and Dodge, but I guess there's always the Japanese make a lot of large trucks too. And the Japanese trucks, we rarely ever see any problems with them. But like the GMs, really, the engines are far more reliable than the Fords. You don't have spark plugs that blow out or strip in the heads. You don't have timing chain problems like these. Really, just reliable as can be. And the Dodge is same. They're pretty reliable as well. So I think Fords are definitely lowest on the totem pole of reliability. But for some reason, they keep selling, more and more. I mean, when they run, and usually they run really well. So it's a nice truck. It's just stuff goes wrong.
So how are they, to be fair to Ford, this is a 10-year-old vehicle, how are they, as they got newer, say in the 3 to 5-year-old range, are they having the same kind of issues?
Well, we don't see a lot of them in the 3 to 5-year-old range for some reason. But definitely things like the spark plug problems that Ford has had with their V8s are definitely gone. And some of the newer trucks too, they have the EcoBoost engine, and that again, we haven't seen a lot of problems with that. It's a V6 engine with twin turbos, which is a fantastic idea because you're getting a lot of power and economy in a small engine in a larger truck. But there's a lot of complexity to that that's bound to be causing problems, and I know there are out there. For some reason, we just don't see a lot of them yet, but it's kind of interesting in the aftermarket business. We get things in waves. All of a sudden we'll just be working on nothing but 07 to 2011 vehicles, and the next year we'll start seeing all the 2013s. They just kind of come trickling in. So 3 to 5-year-old models, I don't really see a lot of problems with them yet, which is good. So they're still pretty new.
So there you go. If you're looking for service for your older or newer Ford vehicle in Vancouver, the guys to see who have a lot of experience are Pawlik Automotive. You can reach them at 604-327-7112 to book your appointment, or check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com, or our channel on YouTube. We have hundreds of videos on there all about cars over the last few years. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.